Welcome to the marketing module. This is the first lecture in a series of lectures that describe how one builds the marketing plan for a business plan, how you put together the various parts of the marketing plan and what should be included in that marketing plan. What we'll do is we'll talk about various elements in this introduction, the various elements that we'll talk about in the other lectures talking through as we go forward. This is the overview lecture. The first thing that we'll talk about after this lecture, the next lecture, will be on how you actually find or you create a new customer need. The next lecture after that, we'll talk about the marketing concept. What is it that we talk about when we mean that a firm is market-oriented or marketing-oriented? Then we'll talk about determining what customer demand is, how you actually go out and do that and think through that process. How you segment your markets will be another lecture. And also how you actually gather data, how you gather data for different types of products, old existing products, or even new products. Then we'll talk about what kinds of markets advantage us as entrepreneurs versus those that advantage people that are already in the marketplace. There are differences, and you want to be taking advantage of the areas where one has the advantage clearly. We'll talk about market dynamics, how markets start, how they grow, and how they sort of disappear, and how one takes advantage of that. There's an important area in there which has its own lecture called Crossing the Chasm. That's an area where you started out and you're a startup and developing for an early adopter type of customers, but now you're going into the mainstream. And that's one of the areas where many businesses ultimately fail. Once you're successful, we'll talk about what consolidates a market position, how you go about being the winner in a very competitive field. For example, how you consolidate that position. And then the last lecture in this series, we'll talk about the actual process of pricing and selling, just a few words on how you think about actually taking the marketing plan and then ultimately realizing the sales to bring revenue into your business. So that's the way this module will play out over the next 11 or so lectures. And so we look forward to seeing you. Next lecture, we'll talk about finding and creating a market need. So we'll see you for that lecture.